Okay, so we've started recording. Assalamu alaikum, sisters. It's nice to be here again, and I hope we are going to have to learn one or two things from today's presentation, which will be talking about fine motor skills. A brief introduction, like I always say, and can you guys hear me? Hello?
Yes, please go ahead.
Okay,
We can hear you.
okay. So like I always like to start, this time around, I thought we should do some kind of a word of motivation or affirmation, especially because over the week, I've received some kind of messages from some moms that have been like overwhelmed, that they feel like nothing is working, and I know I've been through there, and I can understand what they're going through exactly, and I still cry occasionally, but it's not something that we should always drown ourselves into. And I thought, why not start with a kind of a word of affirmation or motivation and say to myself, like everything else, it will come to pass. This too will come to pass, because this is actually what happens in reality. There's always a new challenge in behavior. There's always a new behavior, and these behaviors always lead to it always change over time. So it's kind of it's a stage. You just have to go through it, and it will come to pass. So I want us to have that in our mind, that everything that is happening right now is just a phase, and it will come to pass. You could write it out somewhere around. I sometimes put like a large printout in front of my mirror, and I just put that word of affirmation there. So when I'm looking into the mirror, I'm looking at that thing, and it's affecting my mood in general. So next thing is to talk about the disclaimers that I always leave. The purpose of these sessions or this presentation is not to replace the job or the role of an occupational therapist, because since we're talking about fine motor skills, this is actually what an occupational therapist, a licensed occupational therapist, is supposed to be doing with you and your child. But for a lot of people that have reached out to me, I realize that they don't have access to occupational therapists or any kind of therapist. And this is why I'm kind of giving this clips and tips on the things they could do instead of waiting for an occupational therapist, which may or may never happen depending on where they live, especially those in the and some certain parts of Nigeria. And so these are things that you can actually do with your child at home to help your child improve in certain areas, and like particularly since we're talking about fine motor skills. Okay, so, and also to note that the fact that it works for my child doesn't mean it might work for you. It might work better for you. It might not work for you, the outcome. So just be open to any possibilities. But the fact that you try always makes a lot of goes a long way, because trying never hurts anybody, never harms. You try, you'll be able to know if it works for you, fine, you continue. If it doesn't work for you, you re-strategize and try to find something that works for you. So like this is just the few things that I always like to start my presentations with. So improving fine motor skills, which is what we're talking about today. What exactly is fine motor skills? It's involves the movements, of smaller muscles groups in your child, muscle groups in your child's hands, fingers, and wrists. This is actually where it starts from. For us, it's the beginning. And I actually forgot to mention that the role of an occupational therapist in my son's during our early intervention, yes, played a major role. I knew I mentioned ABA, but I was just looking back, sometimes you don't remember some things and it just comes back after a while. And I realized that, yes, this also helped us in a lot of ways. And these are the things that I actually put together to share with you all. So like I'll be talking about these activities that can improve fine motor skills. Come on, let me put my screen wider so that, okay, much better now. You can see my screen much better now, right?
Okay.
Can you see my screen better now?
Yes.
Okay, so I'm learning this whole thing gradually. My tech husband is the one putting me through. I've never paid attention to a lot of things. Just give me a moment to just set up something for Khalil here. Okay.
Okay.
Okay. I'm so sorry. I'm so sorry. You know, I'm at home. Kids are everywhere. So, like I said, you know, this, like I was saying, activities that can improve the fine motor skills for children, particularly ages from 2 years upwards, depending on what your child can do around the age. And why I emphasize on focus is that I don't want parents to feel overwhelmed with so much information. And I just want us to have like a certain things. Hello? Hello? Okay, so I just want to like have certain things that it's not, we just kind of focus on those things at a particular time and not have so much information coming in. And that's, so just allow us to take it one step at a time. And so these are just some things that I would like most parents that are, especially those that with little kids, to start with and see how it goes over time. So your goal here is, you know, for the child to be able to do the following: pick up a spoon if he or she's not already doing that, to be able to pick up toys from one place to another, to be able to hold something from for a certain amount of time to feed him or herself, and brush his or her teeth, hold the pencil, writing, getting dressed. There's a lot of things that they're kind of all interrelated, and it all starts with what your child can use his hands to do. And it's also very important to make these activities as fun as possible, you know, as slowly as you introduce it to your child's daily routine. And like, you just need these skills. And making it fun, making it playful, it's the easiest, fastest way for each child to learn anything, because after all, it's a child we're talking about and they all want to play. Making it so serious into a kind of a work activity makes it boring, and no child will want to interact or to do anything with you at that time. So we're trying to get them to be able to, you know, to most of these activities, like, you know, putting together a puzzle, excuse me, so a puzzle, and pointing at an object. These are things that I actually never paid attention to, because I always thought, what was the benefit of teaching? Because we had to teach my son how to point at the time because he wasn't pointing. And then this is just one of the first steps in getting your child to, you know, work his muscles and fingers and stuff like that. I'm not an occupational therapist, but that's what I believe. And your finger paints, you do finger paints together, and you can let your child put some coins in a piggy bank. So where I actually have a certain some of these toys that I still have, and I'm hoping to share, like the puzzles that I have. I have like these large puzzles. They are really nice and they fit into the child's palm, and it's not heavy. It's kind of comfortable to feel. And while teaching the child how to put in the puzzle boards like this were one of the first things that we did with occupational therapists, you know, just getting him to pick the puzzle and put it in the right spots. And all this all these toys and games were kind of like beneficial in the long run, you know. We also have this one. This was one of the first toys I actually got. It's like a piggy bank. You open it, it has a coin, and you put in the coin. It has audio, and then you hear the, you know, it's kind of interactive. It's fun. And my son couldn't do this at 2.5 because you could see, somebody just looking for the first time would just be like, how can this be a difficult task? But every child is different. So if you have a child that is struggling to, you know, pick up things at that time, this is a very good place to start, you know, just by putting in stuff like that. And then painting, which is the regular thing everyone knows, you know, teaching a child how to pour his own drink is also something that can help with the muscles, you know, work the muscles, the fingers and everything. And Play-Doh, my son loves Play-Doh, and it's really, really very helpful. He likes to roll it into the ball, you know, and all those things have some kind of connection, sensory, you know. Just do your own research, and whatever you feel your child is comfortable with, you know, pressing it down to flatten it, they're all using their muscles. It's a form of exercise for them, you know. Even if it is just squishing it with your fingers, it's also an exercise, you know. This can even help with the, you know, pointing and stuff like that. Then also we have placing objects in a container, and having your child to remove them and put it in another. We do a lot of this. We did a lot of this, and I still do some of these activities with my son now, because even at 6, we have a lot of challenges, especially with, you know, pencil grip and writing and lifting heavy objects and stuff like that. So I still do most of these activities with him. Then other activities include stacking toys, cups, building cups like Legos, the large Legos. I have some images, we'll just be talking about them. But I will be showing the images of those toys that I didn't show here in person, and yeah, as time goes by, you know. And sending your child on errands. When I say errands, like telling him to take his cup to the kitchen or his water bottle to the kitchen, is also something. Is lifting something from one place to another, helping with mixing or stirring. These are actually good things for bigger kids. My son joins me in the kitchen when I bake, when I cook, and he enjoys mixing. He's always holding the hand mixer and, you know, stirring. He loves stirring everything. So we do that too. And another thing is picking up the beans. Let me try to get an image. I would like to. Okay, so this is the images that I have. Okay, the piggy bank. I already showed the puzzles for those that didn't see me when I was doing the presentations. These are one of the few puzzles that I have. The blocks that I have are the big ones, where it makes it easier for them to grab it, not the smaller ones. And as time goes by, you can, you know, get the smaller ones for them. But I started with this one. And then the balls is what I use for putting things. I put the ball like in a basket like this, and I make him to pick it and put it in another bowl. Or sometimes we do sorting. We do different kinds of activities with these balls, as as little as they look like nothing, but we do a lot of activities. We could do color sorting, like, okay, we're putting only yellows in the box. We're picking only yellow and putting in another box, or we're picking only blue, or we do different boxes with different colors. Anything, just make it as fun as possible. The goal is to make it as fun as possible. So the beans picking, this is what I use. Why I use this is that it's kind of, it's smaller, and he picks it with his, he picks the beans. You know, if you look at the picking, it's kind of almost the same way you hold a pencil. And this is why we are still doing this, because like I said, I'm working on him getting better in writing. So we do a lot of these beans picking. I normally put the beans in another cup, and I make him to put it inside the bottle. You could get any container. I just found this bottle, it was cute, and I thought, and it's easier for me to just close it and store it away. So I just put it, sit down with him, especially sometimes when he's agitated, when he's not calm. I just give it to him to focus and pick it one at a time, and he puts it. I've seen people do it with rice, or any kind of grain that is accessible to you, you know. And then this is the image of the Play-Doh also. I think that's the last of the images, but these are just a few of the things that I have done and I'm still doing. And there's a lot of things you could do with your child at home without waiting for necessarily waiting for specialists like an occupational therapist to come and help you with those things. And even if an occupational therapist is available, you as a parent will still need to continue to work with your child in those certain areas to make him to get better, because the occupational therapist will probably come a few days a week and he will come and leave, but you as a parent, you're always there, and it will be more beneficial if you continue this task with your child. And so another thing I do is I use the pegs. This pegs, I've used it in different ways. The cloth pegs, just pushing the strength, the muscle you use to push it. It's kind of a little bit, so it's like a kind of a finger exercise. So this was the last activity that I did with Khalil. So I make him to put the pegs on each number. So he counts, and this one says 1, so we put 1 peg on it. You can make it as colorful as possible. I made this myself out of an empty box. I cut it out in circles. You could do it in any shape just to make it fun. And he puts 1 and he does all the numbers up to 10. So this, I've done it with cotton boards too. Like I think I mentioned cotton balls. I make him to use this to pick cotton balls from one place to another. All these are working to help the fingers and muscles. So I also do filling up a bottle using a funnel and a cup, depending on the weight the child can carry. I actually involved my 1-year-old the last time we did it during the holidays. She was using a smaller cup. So I just put water in it. I put a bottle at a little bit distance, and I make them fetch the water from a bucket and put the funnel in another bottle at a distance and make them fetch the water from that place to the funnel. It's fun. They get to play with water and concentrate and do some other things, but at least it keeps them focused, it keeps them busy, it exercises their hands, and gradually they will be able to lift up bigger, heavier objects as time goes by. Like for those children that have difficulties walking, they can actually do some of these things, just sitting down in one position with the water and the bowl, everything together with the funnel, just a simple pouring. You can even just take, 2 cups together and just be turning water in between. For me, I've come to realize that everything is therapy. I don't consider anything. As we're playing, I'm also thinking about the benefits of that play, the effect those things have in their lives, And so this is just most part of the things that we've actually done. So I've explained the benefits of these toys, the balls. Like I said, we do sorting with it. We do numbers. I can say, let's put 2 numbers in the, let's put 2 yellow balls, because now he's older. I know he understands this, but it depends on your child's understanding level and everything. So I could just say pick 2 balls and put it in here, pick 3 balls. We still do this because like I say, it's already a lifestyle. You never stop. And the Play-Doh too, so many things. You can also find a lot of more activities on Pinterest and on Google, what other things you could do. So like these are just some of the numerous things you can do with your child at home. It's very important for an adult to be present, especially when handling things like Play-Doh and the bean speaking, because they put it in their nose or they eat the Play-Doh. So we have to always be there. And also it helps to encourage the child, not just to leave the child with those toys and expect the child to do it, especially if the child is not is slow or has some developmental delay. So that's why it's very important for an adult to always be present. Most of these activities have other benefits to the child apart from improving the motor skills, like increased focus and attention. I mentioned this earlier on, especially when I was talking about the bean speaking. Whenever he's a hyper sometimes, when he's hyper and he's running around, and I just want him to be calm, or sometimes I use it as a punishment. Like I know he's trying to, to throw tantrums, and I don't unnecessary tantrums for no reason, and I want him to just be calm. So I just give him the beans and I tell him, okay, let's pick 20 beans into the bottle. He sits down because I've given him an instruction to count. He can see, he becomes focused on the counting, and he picks the beans one at a time into the bottle. So this helps with focus and attention, and also relaxes him. Play-Doh relaxes him when he's, I don't know, if the feeling of the Play-Doh on his hands kind of calms him down also sometimes. And it also improves the child's ability to follow instructions when you give them this little tasks. And also with language, it could help with colors, shapes. You could just put all those things together when you're working with them. It doesn't necessarily have to be just focusing on just the motor skill itself. You could just do, oh, it's a lion. What do we have here? We do lion. What sound does a lion make? I did that a lot. It made it more fun for him when I make the sounds, the animal sounds, while doing the puzzle. And at a point, he really loved it so much, and he would do the animal sounds. It was so cute to hear him do those things. So you can include numbers and colors and anything you want. Basically, you know your child better. Every child is different, like I always say. Your child might like dinosaurs, so you use the dinosaur as something to get his attention. Your child could like chicken, or any kind of animal, or a shape, or numbers. So you just do it as flexible as you can with it. Another crucial thing that that I can say worked for us was the handover hand technique. So I did this a lot, and I think I even mentioned it in the last presentation. So I do this a lot, and I still do it, because if I notice that if I want him to do anything and I do this with him over time, he gets it faster than me just telling him to go and do this thing, or me just teaching him how to do it. So it became kind of a lifestyle for me. It became kind of the way I feel like I get things done faster. So when we started with these puzzles, or with the piggy bank, he wouldn't do any of those things. He couldn't even get how to put the the coins in the piggy bank. So I put my hand over his hand. I only put my hand over his hand to guide him to pick it and put it correctly. And we do it with every other toy that I've introduced to him, every other activity. And after a while, it's not usually a month, it's not 2 months. Sometimes it could take 6 months, sometimes a year, for him to be really interested in that thing, and to be like, do it on his own without assistance. So the goal is to keep doing it and not to be consistent. As I always say, consistency matters a lot, and to not give up. Even if the child is always crying and doesn't want to do it, the more you introduce it to him, the child will just be like, I think this woman will never give up. She won't stop crying, and they will just do it with you easily as time goes by. So I'm still doing this with my son, even with his writing. There are some letters that he doesn't have. I know he can write it, but he's not confident to write it on his own. So I put my hand on his hand. I don't help him to write it. I just put my hand on his hand to give him a balance, to give him support, and he writes it on his own. So I'll be doing this until he feels confident enough to write it on his own, and that's when I know that I've stopped. I also did this with him kicking a ball. I remember when he wasn't kicking at I think about 3 or 4. My husband and I will pick up his feet and use it to kick the ball each time we're playing. We especially weekends, or we go out. And over time, he started to make the attempt on his own. And then with swinging too, I have I take my kids out every weekend, if we don't go out as a family, I take them to the park every weekend, at least every weekend. And if I can make it on weekend, one day after school, maybe I pick them up and we just stop by at the park. But at least I make sure once a week I take them out. And so we've been doing this swinging, like I just use my hands to guide his legs back and forth, to swing his legs, to be able to swing on his own. And I keep telling him, push in and out. And honestly, I don't even get any lecture from anyone. I just felt, let me just try this technique. And it worked. Each time we go, he loves the swing, but he wants me to push him, and he gets frustrated because he can't swing on his own. And I thought, okay, the best way to help him is to guide his leg and show him how to swing. And gradually, when I'm pushing it in, and sometimes even when I'm not pushing, I'm telling him, push in, out, in, out. And over the time, honestly, we've been doing this for over a year. And then recently, I think it was some weeks ago, we went to the park and he was swinging, and I was just staring at him. Someone was talking to me. I was actually distracted because I was looking back. I'm like, he's swinging on his own. He's not calling me to push him, and he was going so high. I felt so good. I'm like, wow. So this is why I am a big fan of Handover. It's time consuming. It's like, sometimes it's tiring when you have to teach the child to do everything, but it works. So if you want to give it a try, it will be a nice thing to try. It also gives the child, the safe feeling, the comfort that you're there to guide him through this difficult time that he had. And even with errands, I did this also with errands. Like, instead of just sending him to just pick up his plate to the kitchen, I follow him by holding the plate together with him and accompany him to the kitchen for him to understand that I'm sending him to the kitchen to put his plate down. So especially for kids that don't understand what you're talking to them about. So you keep doing that, you will understand. The next time you say, take your plate to the kitchen, he will understand that, oh, it's that thing that we normally do. Me and mom, we go to the kitchen together with my plate. He starts to connect the dots. So you can also give this a try. Lastly, okay, so if you are just starting these activities with your child, and the child is pre-verbal or non-verbal, it's very important for you to start with short, simple words. Short, simple words, like just one word or one sentence. Okay, instead of just putting too many sentences and just a word. In words like put or push, or just one word. Not saying, can you put this, or let's put this in the piggy bank. No, I think it's too much for a child that is just starting with words. So you want to really choose your words carefully, and then if you are using that particular word, it will be nice to just use that same word and not change it over time. Like today, if you're using put today, and tomorrow you decide to keep the coin in the piggy bank, or it's going to confuse your child. So once you're doing those activities, you have to, can you excuse me, please? Someone is at my door. Okay, apologies, sorry, there's someone at my door. So, like I was saying, we just use the word put, and we not use, we use put all the time instead of changing anything, instead of changing any of the words and getting the child confused as time goes on. But when the child gets used to that particular word, you can now begin to add put the coin, put coin. Not a long sentence, just to make it easier for the child to understand the instructions. And Okay, so it's also important to involve everyone in the family. You let them know that, okay, this is what you're working on, and this is the language that you've introduced to your child. You're using the fruits. You're not using anything. You're not using anything to any other word. This is the word put. And if they're going to send him to put anything, they will tell the child to use the word put, not using keep or any other words to replace that word, until you're sure that the child is understands the word carefully, perfectly, and it's good to introduce another new word or an additional word. So another very important thing is, encouraging the child, celebrating the child, and rewarding the child with each after each task, even if it's halfway, even if it's just a point. The child is able to point at an object or is able to pick up an object, no matter how tiny it is. It's very important that we celebrate these children. We show them that we see what they're doing, we appreciate what they're doing. I always make a big scene. I make a big scene with whenever he does something. I jump up, I say hooray. I'm smiling, I'm excited. I'm like, well done, you did amazing, and stuff like that, just to encourage him to do more next time. But you can also use words like great job, amazing, well done, hugs, kisses, tickles. My son used to love tickles. Yeah, I did tickles too. And he would laugh and would be so happy, and he would be excited to do more because he knows that the more he does, the more tickles he gets. And if it's a favorite snack too, that will also do, by rewarding the child. This always works. Even at this age, this always works. It's like the most easiest way to manipulate any child. Just tell the child, okay, you get this after the tax, and the child is all in. So these are part of the my experiences that I'm sharing with you guys. I hope you learn or find one or two things useful. And also, if you're using a favorite snack, I noticed that if like there's a particular snack your child likes and you want to use it as a reward for the child, then it's best to keep that snack as permanently, to be just for rewards, not for any other day, not for snack time in school, not for snack time any other time of the day. It's just so that the child can connect and say, oh wow, this is a snack I get anytime I do a task and I successfully complete the task. I always get this task. It's better that way than just doing it every other day. You won't even want to listen to it because you'll be like, this snack, I get this snack every day, so it's not motivating for the child. It's not encouraging for the child. So this is another tip to add. That's for those that want to use snacks as a reward. And as you can see, I did invested in a lot of toys. I bought toys like crazy. Sometimes people come to my house and they ask if it's a kindergarten or something, because I just kept buying. Even when my son wasn't playing with toys at that age, he didn't care about most of these toys. But 1 year or 2 years later, he will be so obsessed with those toys. And he'll be like, but these toys have been there since you were little, you know. And so I never got rid of most of them. We still use some of them depending on what we're working on. And now that I have a little, he has a little sister, she's enjoying all the toys somehow. So for any time, if you feel like your child is not playing, and it should not discourage you from buying toys. They do learn a lot from these toys. You might not learn to use it now, you might learn to use it later on. So what to take out from this is, to encourage them as much as possible through play, to not force the child. Although yeah, sometimes I did in the past when I didn't know better, so I try to find a good time when my child is in a good mood. And you can also do the same thing. Mostly for us, it's in the morning before anything starts on the TV. just after breakfast. That is always the best time for him before he gets any distraction from TV or from mobile phone or from any gadget. His brain is very, very fresh and active, and you can get him to do anything at that time, and he will do it. And also at bedtime, he's in a relaxed mood. He knows he's about to sleep. We do stories and some little activities, 10-20 minutes a day, depending. I used to put a budget 30 minutes every night, but sometimes I'm tired, sometimes I'm not able to make it, so I just kind of do like a minimum of 10 minutes a day, but up to 30 minutes every day. And this really did help a lot. So yeah, so I guess that's it. If you want more informative posts, you can follow my post on Facebook, and some videos. I've been posting some of journey on my autism journey with FattyGiwa on YouTube, and Khalil's progress on Instagram. You could find some some videos on some of those activities that I've done with Khalil in the past. And if you have any questions, suggestions, feedback, anything else to add, please, you can let me hear from you guys. Thank you for staying here. Any questions, suggestions, feedback?
I just want to say thank you, sis. You did a great job. You're not doing like, you're not a professional. I will say you've really done justice to your child, and that's why I try to tell parents, if you have a child with learning disability, don't have this limiting belief that we can do it. I always insist, use that word, I can, we can achieve it.
Yes.
The extra mile you go for the child depends on the output, and that's the output you're seeing in your child.
Yeah.
So the investment might not be showing immediately,
Yes.
but with time, it's going to show.
Sure.
So
Yes.
as much as possible, parents should try to invest.
Yes.
We can invest in other children. You give them extracurricular activity, you register them for ballet and all that. You should register. The parents need to do the job, and it boils down to the mother. It's not all father that is going to
Yes.
be there for these kids. So it depends on the love you give these kids at this age that would transit in future. I've seen adults, people of my age, that were autistic, and he works in First Bank and is doing great. So it boils down to the mother. And I always say, I love your group. Always make sure you give them words of affirmation. And they also need, okay, mental health is coming. So I think that will really help parents, because I found out that some parents had, as in they are mentally drailing. So
Yeah.
they really need something to awake them. So I would just say, well done, and I like your presentation.
Thank you. Thank you so much. Thank you. So if that's all for today, then I think we will be able to close the presentation now. Thank you all for taking your time to join us, and I hope to be able to get more topics and more interesting tips to share in future. Okay, bye-bye, everyone.
Bye-bye.
Thank you, bye.
Bye.
Bye-bye.
Bye. Thank you very much. Take care.
Okay.